Hello again. How often do you have a side-splitting, doubled over, tears running down your face laugh? When was the last time you let yourself live completely in the moment and reacted to what people said to you with the first thing that popped into your mind? In the latter part of today's Daily Apple, we're going to meet some seniors who are trying to make humor and improvisation staples of their lives. Many believe it's keeping them healthy as well as happy. Here's a look at what goes on at a seminar called Live Life Laughing.
Roz Trieber is a woman whose mere presence is enough to elicit laughter. It's happening again today at the Pikesville Senior Center. Roz is not just a humorist, but also a health educator. She's brought her Live Life Laughing seminar to this Maryland facility to teach seniors how to embrace a lifestyle of merriment for their own good.
I put on a program on how to live life laughing and how to really develop their own sense of humor, to realize the benefits of humor and laughter. They're really about our attitude and our perceptions and how we're going to look at life. It takes us beyond, or back to our childhood, should I say, that it's okay to be funny.
The shortest distance between two people is laughter.
Mixing equal parts lifestyle advice and random silliness, Roz leads the class through jokes, stories, and humorous situations to point out the fun in life.
Madeline is also an expert in romance, except she is from a different country and does not speak English.
She had everyone telling jokes and smiling, and we did belly laughs, and we had a very nice time.
Just to be able to come together to laugh, to share a moment or two. And it is in that moment, that the energy comes and takes them forward.
With this foot problem I have, I've been pretty miserable for a long time, so it makes me, kind of brings me up for today.
Well, most always being with the people and listening to their stories and smiling with them.
Roz encourages her participants not just to laugh, but to think about where humor comes from.
Humor is the discrepancy between what you experienced and what you expected.
You don't have to be funny, but things are funny. So everyday life becomes funny, so we just don't want to let the funny get away. So if we give them that opportunity by sharing different kinds of things in their lives, then we get an opportunity to go to the next level.
In addition, Roz uses improvisation exercises to relax the participants and suggest a new approach to life's challenges.
Improv really is about accepting life and what it gives you, what throws your way, and how you can respond to it with confidence, with an ability to be able to say, I can handle it. I trust the process. We're going to go with it. Whatever happens, I'll discover whatever it's going to be.
Improvising is a release of negativism and gives you energy back because you're just not practicing, you're just doing what comes naturally.
Improv is about solutions, about answering questions in a way that we can discover new ways to handle life. And we don't have to get all used up in terms of our energy. We still have it left over. And we can make every day as the best possible day, because that's all we have is right now, and not to worry.
There's no doubt about the happy attitude. It goes over to everybody, it really does.
Silly as it sounds, when you see it happening, you cannot believe it, that people are just doing crazy motions and laughing. Many times, most a reluctant person in the audience who has said they will not do anything, all of a sudden they're participating. They're smiling.
Going through this maturing process is not for sissies, and we really need to know how to handle it in a very positive way. I think laughing all the way to finishing school is the best way to go.
Stretch your imagination. I want you to go into the imaginary world. Yes.
Joining me now to tell us more about humor, improv, and their many benefits is Roz Trieber, who is making her second appearance on the Daily Apple. Roz is a certified health education specialist and the founder of Humor Fusion, a company that applies humor to the workplace and the classroom to reduce stress and increase productivity. Welcome back to the studio. It's so good to see you again.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Why do you think that people actually lack laughter in their lives?
Because we are a very serious society. And we have to get everything right, and we have to make money. And basically, we're really raised on a theory of competition and fear. So we're afraid.
How did we get there? How did our society get to that point?
It goes back a very long time, really and truly. It actually goes back to the Calvinistic age, when in the workplace you have got to not, work very seriously. It's not a place for fun. It's not a place for smiles. And if you're smiling, you're not doing enough work.
Well, okay. How do you recommend that people bring more joy and laughter into their workplace environment, into their homes?
It's really not very hard. It's about your attitude, and that's where it begins. And it's an attitude of being able to be creative and welcome other people, be open to new ideas. The role of humor, particularly in the workplace, is about bringing cohesiveness, bringing people together, because you share either the things that go wrong at work or the things that go right at work, but you're sharing these common kinds of things with each other. So now we have a bond.
Sure.
Okay, maybe there are negative things that go on, and we have to even give bad news or negative news. That can be done with a sense of humor.
One of the sayings I've always heard is it's 10% the action and 90% the reaction. Is that what you follow?
Absolutely.
So
how we respond is so important. And it creates a mood for the rest of the people that you are around or with. You know, there's that old saying, one rotten apple can spoil the whole barrel.
I do.
Because it's about energy.
Right.
So if we have an enthusiastic attitude, I am not talking about having to be a stand-up comic or tell jokes all the time. Some people are very good at that, but not at the expense of somebody else.
Yeah, I was watching the segment, and I'm very interested to know what some of the things you do for your audience to make them laugh, because frankly, everything isn't funny, and I imagine that sometimes people look at you and say, oh, come on, lady.
It's not about being funny. It's about the joy that you experience in the moment. So when we're talking about how do I get people to laugh, first I ask people to share with each other, when do they have fun? And then they begin to talk, and they actually start to tell stories to one another as well. So now we begin to get some laughter, and then we ask people, you know, what is your favorite TV show? Who is your favorite comedian? And why?
Well, what are the long-term effects? What do you think some of this improv does in a long-term way?
Okay. Whether it's humor because you're watching a TV show, or whether you're interacting with somebody else, or you're being spontaneous, which means you're eliminating judgment. That's the big thing. So now we can feel comfortable enough to actually be silly, okay? So now we have an opportunity to let our hair down, should I say? And I need you to repeat that question again, because my mind just lost a chip.
That's okay. We can laugh about it later. But here's what, you know, in essence what we're saying is that you need to attach laughter, and it increases your self-esteem and your self-confidence. But hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We need to take another break. Don't go away. We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration of humor and improvisation with Roz Schreiber and a visit to an improv happy hour.
Who said? I'm a skilled professional actor. Whether or not I've any talent is beside the point. A. Michael Caine. B. Marlon Brando. C. Henry Fonda. Or D. Spencer Tracy. Who said? I'm a skilled professional actor. Whether or not I've any talent is beside the point. The answer, A. Michael Caine.
Welcome back to today's Daily Apple examination of, well, fun and games. For most of us, improvisation is something to resort to only when nothing else is working. But jazz musicians have long done it to thrill their audiences, and the theater world has turned it into an entire genre of stage performance. Now some seniors are getting together over good food to study and enjoy improv techniques on a regular basis. It's called an improv happy hour.
Believe it or not, this table is the cornerstone of a wildly popular new program for seniors in Washington, D.C. It's here at D.C.'s St. Mary's Court Senior Housing Building that people gather over good food for Improv Happy Hour. The idea came from one of the building's residents, Roz Freund, who was inspired by a postcard she received from the Washington Improv Theater. Roz showed the card to Margaret Pulley, St. Mary's Court Associate Director.
We just looked at it and we were talking and we said, what if we did improv here with seniors? And we thought about it and we thought it would be a great idea because as far as I know, nobody's ever done an improv class with senior citizens. So we decided to try it.
I just do what I do. I don't wash floors. I hate cooking. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother. What I've always been able to do, though, is envision things.
Thanks to the willingness of the Washington Improv Theater and a grant from the D.C. Commission on the Arts, Roz's idea became a reality.
When we first started this, I wanted it to be called Happy Hour Improv. Well, we voted that down because the improv is more important than the happy hour. But what I also happen to know is that the gift of food and camaraderie in many lives, not only here, is extremely important.
Mark Chalfant of the Washington Improv Theater is now in his second tour as instructor for Improv Happy Hour.
In a lot of places, your later years kind of invite you to become more sedentary and less active. And improv really thrives on everybody bringing all that they have to the table. And so I was really excited to see what I could challenge these people to bring to the table.
The improv theater class challenges participants to think on their feet during unscripted storytelling and role-playing exercises. All they have to rely on is who they are and what they know. Many discover that they know more than they thought.
Here is a group of people with a whole life behind them and lots of things to draw upon. It gives them a chance to come together and just either be silly or say and do whatever they want without worrying about somebody, you know, repercussions or anything like that.
What you have to deal with is today. It's this moment. That's the one thing you definitely can participate in. So give it your best and bring everything you can to it because, you know, we're not saving this. This isn't for a photo. This is just a day that you're supposed to live. Is that the weirdest thing you've done today so far? I would hope. Good. We need to.
The participants in the Improv Happy Hour have few aspirations towards a career on stage. What they get out of the class is something more fundamental.
I'm laughing. I'm having a great time. I'm learning how to take instructions and learn and do what the whole crowd is doing. And then every once in a while, I got to do what is me, which is simply fly away.
If I'm very depressed, and I do have my times of depression, and I have to be honest about that, but I don't have to take a pill. Improv is my pill, because I know I have something to look forward to.
I get to be with the residents and be goofy and crazy and, you know, laugh at them and they get to laugh at me. They enjoy that too. And it's just a time when we can get together and have fun.
A lot of people who get into improv will tell me afterwards that, you know, it's a little bit like therapy. You get to be in a scene where you're furious with somebody or tell a story where somebody's madly in love. And maybe neither of those things happened to you today or has happened in a while. But you get to really channel that energy as a storyteller or as an actor, and your body remembers that.
And when was the last time you really had a good laugh? Did you have a good laugh today? Well, I don't know whether you did. These were good laughs. These were belly laughs. They were real. They were solid.
You know, you've grown into age, and you've aged a certain way, but you don't have to be that restricted. You can let loose. And I guess Ross taught us that.
Yeah.
It's okay, you know.
It's all right.
It's okay to have that human part of you.
To be old and funny and silly.
And silly, yes.
Yeah.
Joining us to tell us more about the Improv Happy Hour is Mark Chalfant, Artistic and Executive Director of the Washington Improv Theater. Mark has taught improv not just at St. Mary's Court, but across the country at improv workshops and comedy festivals. He has also used improv techniques in working with corporate and social service clients. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So in terms of senior citizens, why do you think it helps senior citizens when they do improv?
I think in the case of the work I've been doing at St. Mary's, it's done two things. It's really opened up a creative channel that they weren't really tuned into before. They're fantastic storytellers. Some of them are great actors. The other thing it's done is it's created a different way for them to socialize together because they're being creative together.
How do you actually, give us an overview of the Improv Happy Hour.
Okay, everyone assembles. By now there are a lot of regulars, so they look forward to it every week. And we typically do a few exercises in spontaneity, in creativity, exercises that get people out of their own way. We get so many cues from society and from growing up to sort of stop and censor ourselves. And as soon as you remove those censors, then you really open up to discover new parts of yourself and new ways that you can be creative. And then there's a little bit of socializing thrown in as well, which is the happy hour aspect.
Yeah, I was going to say, talking about socializing, how do you think the mental health and the social aspect of it helps seniors?
Oh, it helps them tremendously in terms of emotionally getting distance from their own issues, getting out of that particular lock-up stage. Again, as Mark said, they become creative. They get rid of their loneliness feelings. They get rid of anxiety. And they actually become free. And they have fun doing it because nobody's judging them. Right. They're pure fun. And they have totally elevated moods.
And what about self-perception? How do you think it helps their self-perception?
I think it does in a big way. For a lot of people, one participant that I had at St. Mary's, she was a woman, 91 years old, her name was Joanne, and she told me after the end of our second workshop that all her life she had been kind of a wallflower, very quiet, behind the scenes, and she guessed that now she was finally coming out. At 91. You know?
So I thought that your comment about living today, this is the day, this is the time, what are some things that you've learned through teaching seniors about laughter?
Oh, they absolutely love it because they are usually waiting to die. I mean, you have a whole segment of seniors that have ailments, the family doesn't visit them. Here you have a group of people who begin to trust each other, they feel comfortable with each other, and the laughter is, you know, it's like hope, and it's a pure prayer, actually. It's so bonding that they just feel wonderful, and doing the improv is just an added dimension of living in the moment. It's now, and it's okay.
Yeah, sure. Mark, have any of them actually approached you to be improv performers where you give your classes?
Not yet. But we're still in sort of the beginning stages of our work, you know. I'm actually more interested in possibly defining a group from them who wants to continue working.
And do their own.
Because there's something cultural also that they're getting, because they are all in the same age cohort. They have references, they have shared history that, you know, typically improvisers are in their 20s or their 30s. Well, I'm not going to get it if you make a Cary Grant joke. You know what I mean? It's outside my frame of reference, but they share so much that this is a way of also reinforcing those cultural bonds, and so much of comedy is cultural.
You talk about that, but I would think through this humor, they also have other emotions that are coming out. What are some of the other emotions that you've seen come out?
Oh, their sadness or their fears come out. I mean, this is a wonderful vehicle. There's actually a true story about a woman who had experienced being in a concentration camp back in World War II days. And not until she was in an improv group where she was able to express the feelings that she had and actually act them out, and then able to share them with her grandchildren, not to be afraid to tell the story.
It's wonderful.
But it could not happen. Yes, it could not happen until this improvisation opportunity became a
my mom, who is a mature adult, she'll kill me for saying that, actually took an improv class, and we went to her improv, what do you call it? Coming out, her improv showcase. And I remember telling her at that moment, there's no way I would ever get on stage to do that. But I hear that you guys have something up your sleeve for me. What's going on?
Well, we thought we could play around a little bit.
Right.
Just to, one thing I thought we could do is just a little bit of free association.
Okay.
To
Green
see,
jacket, Daily Apple.
there we go. Exactly. Right? But to see how far we can go in terms of finding creative links from idea to idea. So, all right, so you started it. So green jacket, Daily Apple, health.
Okay. You have to eat your greens so that you will have a very healthy immune system.
If you have a healthy immune system, you won't get diseases.
Hospital ward.
A lot of people who don't want to eat the spinach, they're making an awful lot of noise about this. They want better food.
Not so much laughter.
Absolute silence.
Beautiful.
All right. So just from the simple germ of an idea, you get to other ideas, and then they start to cluster, and you start to sort of paint a picture. And then scenes can evolve. The kind of improv that we're doing is mostly organic storytelling. So it's somebody starts with one piece of the story, and then somebody adds another, and somebody adds another. And so there's sort of a community that's creative as well, because everybody's contributed a part of the story. It's not sort of one person's solo project. It's everyone plays a part, everyone's really vital.
And what's interesting about that too is the perception, because I would never have answered exactly like you did, and it's how, and cultural, like you said, it crosses all cultures because you have different perceptions of words and terminology and places and things like that.
Absolutely, and what's wonderful about this, if you noticed, none of us were trying to be funny. You know,
I was, but it didn't work.
And that's the whole part. If you try to be deliberately funny, it doesn't become funny.
Gotcha.
It's just being that spontaneous. And in improv, one of the bottom lines is we all want to help each other be successful. So we are listening to each other. We really want to help, you know, bring the story to wherever it goes. And that's where the humor comes in, because we don't know. And then we just take it and whatever it leads
and go with it. So Mark, what's your final thought on why laughter is so important for us?
Well, I think, you know, I've been thinking a lot about, well, what's so special about what improv brings to seniors. And besides the things I've said, I think nothing. It's just, it brings the same thing to everybody. The 20-somethings in our regular classes tell me that, you know, classes with wit is one of the reasons that they decide to stay in D.C.
Classes with wit?
With wit, Washington Improv Theater.
I see, okay.
Right? Because it's not because they're 20, it's because they're looking around for something that engages them and gets them excited about being creative in life. And that's the same no matter what age you are.
Fantastic. Thank you both for being here. This was great fun.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.